So moved. Second.
Got that? Do you want a second?
Awesome. Please vote.
It's not turning on. It's not turning on.
Might as well go home and go back to bed.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. You have an issue with the city of San Diego device.
You actually have a four.
Yeah, we have four.
Four. I'm sorry, I forgot to count the checker. Sorry.
All righty.
It's gonna be one of those days, right?
Moving on to public member comment. Do we have any public comment? Member comment? No. Moving on. Executive Director report, item 3.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to all of you. I think one thing I didn't get a chance to put in my executive director report in writing, and that is last Wednesday. We had a major development in our work with the Navy. An MOU was signed with the Navy to work together in potentially building transportation up at Grand Central Station. I think the press conference was covered by almost every outlet in the region. Our chairman, Steve Bass, and Mayor Faulkner, with our partners, they were speaking. So I'm going to ask Chair Bass if you want to add anything to that.
Not much. It was a great opportunity to share exciting news. Appreciate Mayor Faulkner's leadership on this. I think it means exciting things ahead. I kind of compare it to going steady. We're not engaged, we're not married, but we're going steady with the Navy on this project, and I think there's some great opportunities.
Thank you, sir. I think it's fair to say that the MOU does not bind anybody, but it at least gives us a chance to start working with the Navy. We're already working on the NEPA clearance and the environmental clearance. Regarding the airport, the team is still working to finalize the alternatives. We will be coming to the subcommittee early September and to the board same month to recommend locally preferred alternative. Right now, as I told you before, there is four alternatives on the table, and you will see a locally preferred one in September. The last one we're doing is working together with MTS on looking at directly connecting the trolley from Santa Fe to the airport. So, Mr. Chairman, we're going to talk today about the RTP.
Excuse me, I have a quick question on that.
Yes,
do you have any subcommittee or committee members from the Airport Authority on that subcommittee?
Yes.
Yes, we do. We have actually from the transit agencies, the airport authority, the city, the port.
I'm sure you did, I just couldn't remember. So.
Yeah.
And they're getting along real well with you?
Very well. As a matter of fact, this has been the highlight of this process. Everybody is working together. As you know, last week, the airport authority made a deal with the airlines to commit $500 million to our transportation improvement, which is very significant.
Thank you.
And on the regional transportation plan, we're going to hear it today. We're continuing the show on the road, per se. The last city we visited was City of Encinitas. Thank you, Vice Chairman, for having us. We get a lot of requests for presentation. We're accommodating all the requests, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Moving on to consent calendar. Comments, questions, or looking for a motion? Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote. Thank you. Moving to draft board agendas. Victoria. Come on, then.
Okay. For the July 26th draft board business agenda, we have item number 1, which is approval of the meeting minutes, followed by public comments, communications, and member comments. Item number 3 is the Policy Advisory Committee Chair's Report. And then we have item number 4, which is the Executive Director's Report. On the consent, we have item number 5, which is the 2020 Complete Count Stakeholders Working Group. They'd be asked to approve the strategic plan. Item number 6 is approval of the proposed solicitations and contract awards, followed by item number 7, which is the Policy Advisory Committee actions. Item number 8 is the proposed amendments to the Conflict of Interest Code. We'll be looking for an approve, followed by item number 9, which is the proposed 2020 program budget amendments for the Caltrans planning grants. So we'll be adding the planning grants to the budget. Item number 10 is the 2020 SANDAG financial compliance audit and solicitation process. So this would be, we would be seeking an approve for the firm for the compliance audit. Followed by item number 11, which is the iCommute rideshare week. Item number 12 is the Transnet Smart Growth Incentive Program. Approval of proposed climate action plan requirements, time extension. This is for Lemon Grove. Item number 13 is the proposed 2020 program budget amendment for the fiber optic communications network gap closures. This is coming up from the Transportation Committee. Item number 14, also coming up from the Transportation Committee, seeking an approval for the proposed 2020 program budget amendment for the El Portal crossing. Item number 15 is the SB1 State of Good Repair Program and CTD project list. Item number 16 is Proposition 68, Department of Conservation Local and Regional Planning Grants. This is the SANDAG project submittal. Item number 17 is an Equal Employment Opportunity Program update. Item number 18 is the Executive Director Delegated Actions, followed by item number 19, which is the meetings and events attended on behalf of SANDAG. That brings us to our reports. Item number 20 is our first report. Is the Memorandum of Agreement with Imperial Beach to utilize the Transnet Commercial Paper Program. Item number 21 is the 2018 Regional Transportation Improvement Program Delegation of Authority, followed by item number 22, which is amendment number 5 to the 2018 RTIP. Item number 23 is the San Diego Forward 2020 Federal Regional Transportation Plan Draft Transportation Network. This is for discussion, followed by item number 24, which is the risk consideration. This is an invitation from the independent performance auditor to have conversations with board members related to risk. Item number 25 is a closed session item related to the Los Penn Bridge project, and staff is also seeking to add an additional item to this agenda related to a public hearing on the RENA methodology.
Comments, questions?
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the advisory committee actions, I had asked that we, since we're ratifying some things, it would be nice to have the minutes included when the agenda is submitted.
Anything else? Let's move on to the verbal of the August.
And for August 9th, currently there are no agenda items, so staff proposes canceling this meeting if the executive committee so wishes.
Mr. Chairman, in that regard, we were thinking to be that in August for both the policy committee, the executive committee, and the board, unless you wish otherwise. I don't know, in the past did we go dark?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's gone both ways. Oh, so
We'll work with you to finalize this, but that's good.
Other comments or questions? Otherwise, we're moving on. Thanks, Dave.
I do have to say that I appreciate hearing about going dark here before I do, a few days before the actual meeting.
We don't have to go dark if you
Motion
have
and
any.
second.
No, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying I appreciate hearing about it.
We have a motion and a second. Approved. Thank you. Thank you. Item 6, proposed fiscal year 2020 program budget amendments, Caltrans planning grants. April. Welcome.
Good morning. I am here to share some really great news. Every year, SANDAG and some of the local jurisdictions apply for Caltrans planning grants. And during this recent call for projects, we did really well, and we were awarded 5 Caltrans planning grants as part of the competitive application process. So I'm here with the budget amendments to receive that funding from Caltrans. And as a result of one of the application awards, we are actually able to bring money back into our contingency for the airport project. So if you guys don't have any questions, or do you guys have any questions regarding some of the awards that are in here? All of the projects that we applied for are part of the already approved regional plan to support our sustainable community strategies. And they were approved as part of the recent budget approval in June as pending discretionary grants as part of the OWs. Are there any questions regarding these?
Questions?
No.
Comments?
I don't have any questions. I'll be happy with the motion.
Looking for a second? Second. Thank you. Vote. Thanks, April.
Thank you.
And legislative status report. Victoria, Lori, Robin.
Supervisor Dexter,
And Lori.
did you,
I did. Oh, it was up there.
Yeah.
what's your vote, yes or no?
Not yes.
Okay, sorry. Moving quickly today.
Welcome.
Good morning. So I'll start off with the federal legislative update, and then Robin will get the state. So I was going to try, every time I present, I was going to try to start with good news, even though I don't have any bad news. So at the end of June, the House passed a 5-bill appropriations package, which you may have heard referred to as the minibus. A minibus is just like a fun way of saying a package of several other appropriations bills. And this minibus included spending bills for commerce, justice, agriculture and interior, veterans affairs, and then transportation and housing and urban development, which is what we care about. Overall, the House package was positive in terms of transportation investments. The bill had higher spending for capital improvement grants like BUILD, which is better utilizing investments for leveraging development grant program, a major capital grant program, compared to the President's budget request. And the same can be said for the Federal Railroad Administration and the Federal Transit Administration. And overall, the bill was $6 billion over the 2019 enacted level of spending. The bill also included an amendment for a ruling we had talked about during our last executive committee. That was the safe vehicles ruling, and that was that ruling gets to the rollback of CAFE and emission standards for California and other states. The amendment in the bill prohibits the finalization of that rule, which is good news, and we'll be tracking that to see if that text appears in the Senate's version of the appropriations bill. So passing the House spending bill is just one part of the process. We now need to have that same process and markup happen at the Senate level, and then it will go for a conference vote. As for when this could take place, we are not sure, though we do know that we're up against a September 2019 federal fiscal year end date. So so Congress needs to do something, and if that's a continuing resolution, that may be what will happen. So SANDAG is also tracking the authorization process closely. So as a reminder, we just talked about the appropriations process, which is kind of like a budget, and then we have the authorization process, which is like a policy, more of a policy bill. And our current authorization bill is the FAST Act, just to kind of bring everything together. And that's set to expire in September of 2020. So for months now, Congress has been debating the merits of passing an authorization bill, but at this point the discussion is how do we pay for that bill. So that's still kind of up in the air right now, and we'll continue to monitor how that plays out. And then finally, just our team is continuing to keep our eyes open for funding opportunities for the agencies and the jurisdictions. So you'll be hearing from our team in the coming months as these opportunities arise. So that's kind of all I have. No bad news.
Thanks, Lori. Any questions for Lori? John?
Do you know how much money was in the build part of the grant?
They added $1 billion. I'd have to get back to you on that.
That's all right, just that's a rough estimate's good. And was there anything in the, in there mentioning infra grants at all?
Infra?
Yeah,
I believe there is. Again, I'll get back to you on that one too.
thanks.
Yeah.
And then on the state side, I also have good news. The state legislature is about to go into recess. So we're going to get a break. Today's the last day, and then they'll be in recess for a month before they come back and wrap up all their business. That being said, it's been quite fast-paced over the last month, so we do have a few developments. Related to the regional plan, AB 1730, the bill that's being run by Assemblymember Gonzalez, has continued to move through the process. We have 2 steps left. So now the next step is up on the Senate floor. If there are no amendments made, then it will go straight to the governor's office from there, and hopefully he'll sign it and it will go into law. So like I said, since we're going into recess, there's about a month left for things to happen. We'll come back. Hopefully it will go up for the Senate floor vote, and then we will be on our way. There are a couple of bills that Sandag did take action on in the last month. There were some developments on SB 5. This is a bill that was introduced by Senator Bell. It's like redevelopment 2.0 is what they're calling it. This is an opportunity for local cities, jurisdictions to access some much needed funding to support affordable housing, transit-oriented development, and other eligible uses between the years 2021 and 2030. It's about $2 billion worth of funding that would be made available through the program. Has widespread support throughout the state. There is some opposition, so the author continues to work with some of the educational groups because it does basically the funding mechanism, instead of a tax increment, is going to be using educate ERAF funds, which is the result of Prop 98, and it would be backfilled by the general fund. So they're just working through that to make sure there's no unintended consequences as it relates to education. But it would be a great opportunity. Several of our cities in the region have taken a support position, including the League of California Cities as well, the San Diego division. The other bill that Sandag took a support position on is SB 277, which is also a Senator Bell bill. This has to do with the Senate Bill 1 Local Partnership Program. So if you recall, this is the one that was created really to reward self-help counties like San Diego. In the first round, it was up to the California Transportation Commission to decide how that funding would be distributed. Senate Bill 277 codifies that mechanism, and it actually improves the amount of funding that San Diego would receive. So under the first round of the local partnership program, we received about $9 million on a formula-wide basis each year. Under SB 277, it would set it, so we have a reliable source of funding. We understand the level of funding that we'll be getting, and we expect it to provide about $12 million per year. So that's a good news. That also is moving through those. Both of those bills will be up in Assembly Appropriations once the legislature reconvenes in August.
So, Robin, this is an important bill, and there is no universal agreement. So this is started by the California Transportation Commission staff saying we no longer want to do competitive. It's all, do formula, it's all competitive. So 0% formula, this competitive. Self-help count is met. Last meeting was here, and they wanted to have a 75% formula, 25% competitive. The CTC still was pushing for a different mechanism. Senator Bill and Assemblymember Frazier didn't want this kind of discussion. They actually wanted 95% formula and 5%. So they threatened to put a bill. An agreement was reached for 85% formula, 15% competitive, which we agreed to. Part of that, there were also an argument about how much is based in what regions receive as revenues and how much is based on population. So areas like Los Angeles wanted based on revenues. I did work on that when I was there, but areas like San Diego didn't want revenues to be allowed. So the consensus reach was out of the 85%, and the 15%, 75% will be based on population, 25% will be based informal, which is good for us. We're gonna do better as a region. I spoke to Mr. Washington, the CEO of Metro, to make sure that, and he didn't commit, but his statement is, if there is consensus from the central counties, then he will move. So that's where it is. The bill obviously didn't pass yet. We'll see where it goes, but that's a very good compromise for San Diego County.
I have
Comments, questions, John?
regarding SB 5, I'd like for us to keep a really close eye on that, because this actually is not just related to the ERAF or Prop 98, but it's actually contained in the education code. You know, when you put affordable housing or other things in the education code, it raises the question why. And I think the connection is so they can get that money. And there's no timeline so far suggested on when there's a reimbursement to the education or Prop 98 funds. So I want to make sure we keep an eye on that, see how it affects our schools and things, because it's only, they say it's only $250 million. $250 million coming from education.
It makes a difference. I would expect over that, those were the comments that came up in hearing this week, so I would expect we're gonna see some amendments to that point come up when it goes to appropriations, but we'll keep an eye on it and let you know.
All right, thanks.
Other comments or questions? It's an information-only item. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
Good job.
We have no further public comment. Next meeting actually won't be because we just decided to go dark. See you in